Hi, this is Courtney, and this is 21 ways to save money, reduce your carbon footprint, and reduce waste in your life. I was inspired by Aubrey over at Frugal Freaks for her video and her honesty, and also being someone who lives in the rural South. I'd like to talk about how it's different for us when it comes to saving the planet or being more concerned about our carbon footprint. And so it is different for us. I've lived in a big city and I've lived in a medium-sized city where I had more access to recycling and things like that. And it is a little different, and here's how I cope. Some of these things will be typical no matter where you live, but some of these are beyond recycling, and I wanted to get beyond that. There's a lot of things in here I'm not covering because they're common, like making your own household cleaners and things like that. These are kind of things to help you think outside the box. Number one is to avoid food waste by meal planning and using the items in your refrigerator that are fresh first. For instance, if you have a week's worth of meals, use up everything that's in your vegetable and fruit tray before you get into your frozen items, and this will save on food waste exponentially. Number two is use clothes to clean, like old t-shirts and things like that. Pretty self-explanatory. Get some rags to clean with, but try not to use paper towels to clean with all the time. Number three is to get the larger container of something. If you go to the store, if you've looked lately, and I know if you live small or tiny, this can be hard, but if you will buy the larger container, it is cheaper and it produces less waste. So if you're gonna buy the little bitty bottle of detergent versus the big bottle, it's cheaper by the ounce to buy the bigger bottle, and it doesn't produce a whole bunch of little plastic bottles. It's just one big bottle. Number four is be open to hand-me-downs. I have always been open to hand-me-downs. My family is really good about this. My daughter recently got a couch that was only 2 years old from my parents because it was in great condition. They just didn't find it comfortable, and my dad has a bad back and likes to sleep on the couch, but my 22-year-old daughter thinks it's great. So if you're open to hand-me-downs, people are much more likely to ask you and think that you won't feel offended. Number five is use those glass bottles and jars for storage containers. You get pickles, wash them out. You get spaghetti sauce, wash them out. Use them to store other food in. If you do, maybe once in a while you get a kombucha or something like that from the store, rinse that bottle out and reuse it over and over. I don't recommend this with plastic, as it breaks down and can be really unhealthy for you. Number six is put together outfits. I've talked about this in other videos, and I just did this today actually. I went through my closet, I took out anything I don't wear or that I've outgrown because I've lost some weight, and I put together about 20 outfits. Some were casual, some are for work, but it makes it really easy for me to go in there and see what I have, and it keeps me from buying more clothes that I don't necessarily need. The next one is to flea market for household items. My husband, I have a set of bowls that I inherited from my grandmother. They're stacking, and they're pretty common at flea markets. Last time we broke one, I went to a flea market and found one within like a week, and my husband caused one to break the other day, and I will go and look at a flea market. I'm not going to go buy a new bowl because of that. So look at flea markets for household items. You need a desk, look at a flea market. You just have to be a little bit more patient. Number eight is thrift shop. So I love to thrift shop. I'm not so much a Goodwill person and I have been in the past, depending on what it is. I will tell you, I have a little bit of fear of bed bugs, so I'm pretty conscientious about that kind of shopping. I do shop at the higher end boutiques, resale boutiques. I don't shop for clothes at Goodwill anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I did for many, many years, and I never had anything bad happen. I always just brought everything home in a plastic bag, dumped it in the washer, washed it, and dried it before I wore it. But I do thrift shop for things that I need, but basically I just don't shop very much at all. Number 7 is embrace minimalism. How much do you really need? There's a video on TED called How Many Towels Do You Need? And it's really good. I highly recommend watching it. But I think to myself, we probably have 40 towels in this house, and there's 3 of us. We could probably get by with 10 for the whole year. So think about what you need, have less. It's much easier to keep your house clean when you have less. Number 10 is route your trips together to save money. And again, these are all ways to reduce your carbon footprint, reduce waste, and they're easy and they save money. People who are frugal and on the financial independence journey are generally going to have a lower carbon footprint anyway. So I live 60 miles round trip from just about everywhere. I live between 2 towns, and if I go to town, it's going to be a minimum of 50 to 60 miles or more if I have a lot of errands. So if I'm going to work or I'm taking my son to Hot Springs, the town over where we used to live, I'm going to batch those things. I'm going to do my grocery shopping them. I'm going to get my gas. I'm going to wash my car. I don't just run to town to do errands. I batch everything together, and I drive in a route that makes sense so that I'm not going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Number 11 is have no spend days, because they also produce less driving. If you know that you're off on Saturday and you don't have any plans, just go ahead and plan for a no spend day, to be home, to cook, to clean, to exercise at home, to read a book, to watch a movie. The less you're in the store, the more money you're going to save, the less your carbon footprint, because you're not buying a bunch of crap and you're not driving. Number 12 is recycle those bags at the grocery store. There's no recycling where I live. I could bag it all up and take it to town, but again, 60-mile drive. So I try to not have a lot of trash, number 1, but I also try to take my grocery bags back to the grocery store because I go there anyway, and this saves on all those bags. So we'll talk about that in a minute as well, what to do with all those bags. Number 13 is the more entertainment at home, the better. If you're going to save money on your carbon footprint, doing movies at home, watching things at home, reading books, having bonfires at your house, things like that, especially in the rural South, going out and driving around on your four-wheeler, it's going to use a little bit of gas, not as much as a car. Going horseback riding, for those of us who live in rural areas, there's a lot of things to do. Go for a walk, visit your neighbors. So I would highly recommend that you just start finding entertainment at home. Number 14 is eat out less and pack your food. Again, the driving, the packaging when you go out to eat, especially fast food, is a lot of packaging. And if you will plan ahead and pack, you will save so much money. You will gain less weight, you will be healthier, and you will reduce your carbon footprint. Number 15 is avoid upgrades too often. You don't need the new fancy phone every time it comes out. I'm on an iPhone 6S. I don't know how many generations I am behind. I purchased this phone for $150 on Straight Talk. My plan is $55 a month, and it works just fine for what I need. But the more you get caught up in upgrading, the more expensive that your life is going to be, and the more your carbon footprint, because you're just passing those cell phones and things off into the landfill quicker. Number 16 is shop only when you need something. Self-explanatory. 17, embrace eclecticism. Have an eclectic lifestyle. I always say my style is bohemian, because bohemian is basically eclecticism. I don't worry about things being matchy-matchy. I just decorate with what I love. And I use Pinterest and magazines online. I look things up to help me decorate, and it's really easy, and it saves a ton of money. Number 18 is buy from farmers or your local economy. Use your local economy. It's summertime. My husband and I work a lot, and I have a brown thumb. So at this time, we're not growing any food. He's trying, but he's been working too much. So we buy from local farmers. We buy from our farmers market by his work, and this helps support the farmers near us. We also have a local neighbors will often mow for us. We'll pay them to bush hog our property. So we try to support the local economy rather than bringing from the outside in too far. And this is really helpful for them and for us. Number number, oh gosh, I can't see, 19 is avoid advertising. Get rid of TV, get rid of your newspaper. I do have a couple of magazine subscriptions that I got for cheap because I enjoy reading them. But the less you see advertising, the less you think you need things. That also means on the computer, social media. Be careful how much you allow in. Cable TV is the worst. Number 20 is go to your local library. I love the Hoopla app. Can't talk about it enough. I have it on my phone. I did go to the library this week to get a book, but for the most part, I use my Hoopla app. My husband's learning Spanish for free from library books and CDs. I have the Hoopla app. I listen to books audibly. It's free, y'all. It's like Audible for free from the library. Check it out, Hoopla. Number 21 is reuse those plastic bags if you have them. If you end up with plastic bags, because in the South, I will tell you, I do take my own bags sometimes, but as you walk in, they kind of don't know what to do with them. Half the time, they don't even fill them up. So what I do is if I don't recycle them, if I don't take them back to the store, what I do is out here, I use them to poop or scoop. I use them to clean the cat litter. I use them as wastebasket liners. We use them to take things in if my grandkids are visiting and I need to send stuff home with them. We reuse those bags. We never throw them away. So they do get reused. I know that plastic is bad, but if you're going to have it, reuse it. And we don't really have that much more plastic in our life. We try to avoid it as much as possible. Those are my 21 things. I appreciate you being here. If you like this video, thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.